Do you have any knowledge on the magic sigils?
I've read Francis Barrett, The Magus, uh, Light of Egypt, books from 1801, 1750 on magic and sigils. I've read all the writings of Henry Cornelius Agrippa. He talks a lot about the sigils too. It's listen. The only importance and power attached to a sigil is the one that you define. You have to understand when it comes to it, everything in existence has an informed field. Your informed field happens to be attached to an immortal. Your informed field is very capable of modifying the physical world around you. But every object, this pen has an informed field. What I mean by that is in the holosphere, there is a field, a mathematical field attached to this pen that if somebody knew what they were doing, they could read that pen and know that it's been in the possession of Jason for this long. It came into his possession in this way. The field would have information of being in a warehouse for a long period of time, of being in transit with 400 other pens in a box going down the highway. The informed field, if it could be read, would explain all the way to its creation when it was put together from multiple different parts. Those individual parts have their own informed fields. In the holo field, those individual parts would say where they came from. And this is what our reality is constructed of. It is a mathematical construct. And when you basically impute any type of importance to a certain symbol, that certain symbol absorbs that importance. It becomes that importance. But then it's up to you to do something with it. You inject your power in the very things that you give attention to. I'm speaking about things way beyond sigils and symbols. It's basically power flows where attention goes. So this was an old concept. It was very understood when these rituals and these symbols and these effigies were done. Like it's a very old tradition from the Neolithic times that when a family was hungry, they would send their hunters out, and their hunters would find a secluded place where they would not be interrupted, and they would hold a cardinal ceremony. 4 hunters would be at north, south, east, and west, and one of them would take an arrow out of his quiver, and he would draw a circle in the sand. Then he would pray to the Great Spirit and thank the Great Spirit in front of the other 3 witnesses, north, east, south, and he would sit there and thank the Great Spirit that they got an antelope that day. He would draw an antelope, take out his bow, and he would shoot the antelope. If the arrow hit the antelope, they would brush a line in the circle, because the only way to materialize the antelope, which was only an imagination, was to let it go so it could appear in the real world. To the Indian, the antelope didn't exist out there to be shot with an arrow until he first thanked the Great Spirit for it. That illustration, it's from the Neolithic times. It's ancient. It worked so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. This was their method of hunting. This is what they did. They had faith that the material antelope would appear and die on the arrow and be caught only because they performed the ritual to the Great Spirit. So you take that and apply that to everything in life. It had nothing to do with the antelope. It had nothing to do with the arrow, the bow, the ring, or the effigy that was drawn onto the ground. It had nothing to do with the ancient Native Americans or Central Asian steppe Cossacks that used to perform these rituals. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with one individual immortal soul believing that this was the means by which to exercise power over the material world. And this is what would happen. And once that was understood and believed and a ritual was carried out, the simulacrum itself was programmed to produce the exact phenomena that was expected of it. This is what you need to understand about symbols and sigils. It has nothing to do with the material, the physical world. It has everything to do with the projector, which is you.